Hi, and welcome to Efficient Bodies Asset Part 2. So I realized in Part 1 I didn't actually cover some of the customizable features of the asset, so we're going to look at that in this video. If you haven't checked out the first part, link will be in the description. So in that video we cover the setup and implementation into your own project. So in this video we're going to be covering some of those customizable features that I didn't cover in the first one, and also a new feature which is the replication support. So let's take a quick look at that. So we'll just head straight to our example map. I've already got it opened up here. Perfect. Let's get straight to the level. Alright, now that we're in, I'm playing with two players on a listen server net mode, and I just want to showcase that when a player dies, a body will spawn for that player on both players' screens, and when a player respawns, the animation will also happen for that respawn animation. Um, and so the way this works is bodies aren't actually replicated. Sometimes they're in sync, sometimes they're misaligned, such as this case here. The only thing that is replicated to save on those replication resources is that I send a message to each player saying that this player has died. And then each player handles their own ragdoll pulling from the object pool and the animations and stuff. So that all happens at the same time, but they're not actually synced or replicated. And that just saves on those resources. So the only thing I sync is that when player 1 dies, it tells every other player that player 1 has died. And then when player 1 respawns, it also tells every other player 1 has respawned. So that just saves on those replication resources. Um, and now if we just go out, we can have a look at all the customizable options, such as how long a body is there before it dissolves, how long the dissolve animation lasts, how long respawn lasts, can you move during the respawn, and things like that. Whether to actually use the respawn animation and whether to use the dissolve animation, how many bodies you can spawn. There are a few features we can play with. The color of the respawn and the color of the dissolve, all that we can change. So let's go take a look at that. Alright, so here we're on our character's blueprint where I have the efficient bodies component attached. And on the right here, you'll see under ragdoll bodies, we can control a bunch of these settings to do with the ragdoll. And then under respawn animation, we can control those settings as well. So let's start with the ragdoll bodies. Let's try changing the max bodies to 1, so only one body will appear on the ground at a time, for each player, I should mention. And we'll set the the disappear time to 1 second. Then we're also going to not use dissolve, so we'll just showcase that you can turn that off. And let's open up our game again. I won't bother full screening the left side. So if I die, 1 second and it disappears. No dissolve animation. That's exactly what we want. Now if I spam the death button, only one body spawns at a time. So that's exactly what we want. Let's go back to that dissolve animation. Let's set the bodies to 2. Let's set the disappear to how long do we want it to disappear? 0. Let's set it to 0. See what that does. And body dissolve time will set to 0.5. So it's going to be an incredibly quick dissolve. Right. I forgot that if you set the body disappear time to 0, it's actually infinite, which you can tell if you hover over the 0 equals infinite. There we are. So let's set it to 0.1. And we'll try that again. So there we go. So now your body will disappear incredibly quickly, even mid-air, which is a pretty cool look actually. I quite like that. Anyway, so let's come out of there again. Let's actually change this back up to, let's say 2 seconds, and we'll set this also at 2 seconds. And now let's play with the respawn animation time. We'll set that back to 5. What is that default? 3. Okay, we'll set it back to 3. Now the respawn animation, let's try turning that off for now, and then we'll have a look and see what that looks like. Which should just, yep, once we die, we just pop into existence. Yeah, that's expected. If we turn that back on and we actually set this to 2 seconds, and let's also say we can't move during the respawn. So for those 2 seconds, we can't move. Alright, so when I die, I'm going to hit it, and now I'm trying to move, and now I can move. So I die, takes 2 seconds, and I can't move for those 2 seconds. Oh, there we go, now I can move. So those are some of the settings you can change on the actual component itself. We'll set those back to their defaults. And if we want to change the color, we just need to head over to our asset folder, asset content, materials, and inside this material parameter collection, you will find all of the color settings for the asset. Now, the reason I put it in a parameter collection is because of the way Niagara takes the parameter value for the color as well. I want those Niagara particles to match the dissolve effect color on the material. So I've put it in here so I can change this to whatever I want. Let's set it to a purple actually. Yeah, a nice, maybe a deep purple. Perfect. And we'll set the respawn to, let's say white actually. Let's do Let's do white. I like it at 5. 5 gives it a nice bright color. Can I go any brighter with this actually? What if I do 5 there? Yeah, that'll do. Alright. Anything over 1 gives you that emissive glow. So, alright, so now if I die and my body disintegrates, it should be a nice purple. Look at that. And then when I respawn with that nice white reintegration effect. Alright, so that's everything I wanted to show in this video. If you have any questions or suggestions or feedback or anything, a link to my Discord will also be in the description. And thank you for watching.